O'Kane.
Here.
Shaner. Here. Scott.
Here.
Waters.
Here.
Moore.
Here. Stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the
Flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do interviews for, first up is Airport Board of Trustees, Eric Christensen. Please come to the mic and tell us again, it seems like you haven't been, they said it was over a year ago. It's hard for me to believe that, but go ahead and tell us why you want to continue to serve.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mayor and Council. I was here a year ago to offer my services to participate on this board. I'm passionate about the Siouxland area. As many of you may know, my position is the city administrator in North Sioux City. But we view the Sioux Gateway Airport as an absolute vital piece of the economic puzzle that is our future here. The continued success of the airport, whether it be the Air Guard, the commercial service here, is absolutely critical. I've got many years of service in the Air Force and the Air Guard, so I understand the role that they play out there. But I'd just like to keep it short and tell the council that I would really cherish and take as an honor the opportunity to participate on this board and to help secure the long-term future of the airport and the economic growth of the area.
Thank you. Questions? Just have a comment. Tell your council over there that it would be nice for them to write a little check for the help with the subsidy once in a while. So that would be a plus.
I think we were at one time. I don't know what there was a subsidy for an extra flight that we were paying.
You guys
for.
did, yeah.
And I don't know if something happened with that extra flight.
You and South Sioux have done that for us. Yes, you have. Yep. So.
Yeah. No,
all right.
We'd just like to see it continue.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. David Kaplan. How many we got? How many openings?
3.
3. Okay.
3.
Good to see you, David. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, good afternoon. David Kaplan. So formally on the board here and applying for a second chance at it. Not only am I a user of the Sioux City Airport in general aviation, but I'm also, as a former employer of a fairly large business in Sioux City, I've got the business background as both a commercial pilot and an airline pilot. I believe I have a lot of the technical background that can help with some of the decision-making on the board. I've been a resident of Sioux City since 1982. And going back to when we had our business here, we operated 4 aircraft out of Sioux City. We were one of the largest users here. And since the sale of the business, I ended up with one of the company airplanes as my personal airplane and still operated here out of Sioux City.
You guys need to buy the company back, but go ahead. Questions?
Yeah.
I'm delighted that you made an application, David, and you've contributed significantly in the past. You have a lot of good ideas. You've had a lot of good experience, and you're willing to put that out as a service to the Siouxland area for the airport. So thank you for making the application.
Questions? All right. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Linda Kalin.
There she is.
Hello.
How are you, Linda? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, this is, I guess I'm applying for a second term on the airport board. I don't fly. I haven't learned to fly on the airport board, but that wasn't the intent. I just believe it's super important for economic growth, but also I'm a parent of 4 adult children who live in 4 different time zones and would like to come visit on our airplanes here. like being involved in the community. So that's about it.
Questions?
I was so glad that you chose to reapply. I tried to catch you on our trip back from Washington DC,
Thanks, man.
and I ran right out to the lobby and you beat me. You were already
Okay.
gone. And I was like, oh, I really hope she resubmits her application.
Thank you
So
very much.
I was glad to see that.
Appreciate that.
Thank you for your interest.
Have you been to the museum lately?
I just talked to Steve Hansen. Did you just watch?
Yeah, you
Steve?
better get down there. There's a Kalen girl in the new sports
I heard
exhibit.
that.
so-
There is.
Thank you, Lynn.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
Events, Facilities, and Tourism Advisory Board, Mr. Bottero. Tell us what good you can bring to the board.
Well, as you know, I'm a repeat offender on
I
this
know.
board, and I appreciate, and I was reflecting on when I first applied, the ideas why I wanted to and what I thought I'd learn, or I already knew. And I got to tell you that being on that firsthand has really opened my eyes to how the Orpheum, the Tyson Center, the Convention Center, and now the Tourism Board, which thankfully, thank you for funding that, how it all has an impact on quality of life and our tax dollars. And I've always been a longtime advocate for Sioux City, and sometimes I have to argue or set people straight when they say there's nothing to do here, or other knocks about the quality of life of Sioux City. I think this town has a lot going for it, especially for the size town it is, and FTAB now being on it gives me a lot more ammunition. So I really enjoy it. I think more people should apply for it, even if they take me out, just to learn, so we've got more people out there. So thank you for the opportunities, and if you have any questions.
Questions?
Thank you for making the application again, too.
Yeah.
Good work.
Because you know how
Appreciate
much
your-
I want as many attorneys on boards
Oh,
as
yeah.
we
Oh,
can
yeah.
get. You know that.
Well, I have to work with Alex, so that's the only downside.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I thought I'd dress more like you instead of in a jacket and tie, Bob, so.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Human Rights Commission, Jesse Lent. Right up here, Jesse. Come up and tell us a little bit about why you want to serve. And
Hi, I'm Pastor Jesse Lent of Mayflower Congregational UCC here in Sioux City. And I basically would like to serve on this committee to help with any human rights is an important part of our church, and to play a role in helping people with their complaints.
how long you been there?
Just a little over a year.
Okay,
So
good.
I also am at First Congregational UCC in Whiting. I live in Whiting, but I go back and forth. So.
Okay. Questions? All right. Thank you. Appreciate you
it.
coming
Yeah,
down.
Thanks for applying.
No problem. Thank you.
Gary Lewis. How are you?
Good enough, sir. How are you?
Good.
Mr. Mayor and Council.
Tell us why you want to serve.
Well, since I moved to Sioux City back in 2000, I've volunteered for a lot of different activities and events. I've wanted to become a member, functioning member of the community. I have a passion for justice and equity. And, let's just sum it up. When I went to the website, the first words I read were to ensure a fair and equitable community for all. And then the next two words were eliminate discrimination. And I figure if there's a group of people that got together to eliminate discrimination, that's a group of people I wanted to be with. That's it.
Appreciate it, Gary.
Those are some really good points
Yep.
to get your interest. Appreciate that.
Questions?
Thank you.
Thanks.
Oh, no.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Ballard Yukon. Tell us why you want to serve. Now, good to see you.
Well, I'm the director of the Urban Native Center, and I work with multiple different organizations and agencies throughout the Siouxland. And, I just want to work closer with the council here, Sioux City Council, and our community is growing, and I would like to embrace the growth in the Native community and other populations.
Is the Native community growing population-wise, you think?
Yes, sir.
Good. Questions?
I know you have many talents, so thank you for making the application.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Our growth it was about 2,500, but they say about 3,000 now.
Where are they coming? From out of town, you think, or just locals moving closer?
It's local,
Okay.
moving.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Library Board of Trustees, Jane Vereen.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good
Very
afternoon.
well. I'm reapplying for my second full term on the Board of Trustees. I've really enjoyed my time there. I really feel strongly that a strong public library system is essential to a strong community and a strong school system. So I have been very interested in both in my time here in Sioux City. I've lived here since 1990. And I just finished a term as president on the board.
And we put Wharton on the board, and you're still willing to
I
continue
am
your
still
service?
willing.
Okay,
There's nothing going to stop me.
okay. Had to make it a little more difficult for you, just to make sure you were in for the long haul, so.
I am.
Any questions?
The libraries, you've had a lot of successes because of
is.
your work.
I've been very
Really.
pleased with the successes, and
Absolutely.
we have a wonderful staff, and that's the strongest thing about it, I think.
It really is. And when my kids are here and when my grandkids come into town, they want to go to the library. And that speaks volumes.
You can come and pet dogs tomorrow, I hear.
Oh,
Have them read through them, I guess. There's a lot going on, and it's all good.
Chris.
Good.
Excellent.
Keep up the good work, thank you.
Thank you.
Transit Advisory Board, can somebody help Mary get the microphone? Thank you, Mike. Come on up here, Mary.
Good afternoon.
You want to keep serving, Mary?
Sure.
All right. How long have you been on now? I think you've been around longer than me. What, would this be your third or fourth time?
I don't know. This would be her fifth term.
Fifth time, good for you.
Time.
But I've ridden the bus for decades.
Oh, yeah.
And I taught people how to ride the bus, and
Good for you.
I even had to brave the construction down here because the bus had a train, and I still got here on time.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
The bus provides such a wonderful service
Yep.
for people that don't have any other way to get somewhere.
You've been a
And
good
there's
board member.
Your freedom where you can go where you want to. I can go where I want to without having to figure it out long in advance. And
Good for you.
You just answered my question, Mary, about how's the transit system doing? You already answered that quite well.
Appreciate your service.
Thank you.
Did you realize that you had been on 5 years?
5 terms.
5 terms.
5 terms, I mean?
Yeah.
yes.
Yes. Wow. I kind of feel like that deserves a round of applause.
All right.
Thank you.
you for coming down.
Thanks.
We appreciate it. Oh, okay. Bob, this was in my car because I thought I was doing it Saturday.
You are also doing it Saturday.
Oh, I'm also doing it
Yes.
Saturday. Okay. All right. Monique, come on up here. I probably should explain to people why I have this T-shirt on. Our church has 80 young people and adults from Wisconsin, Nebraska, Iowa, and Wyoming in town, and we're painting, I think, 5 houses, doing a deck and painting on a house. doing another deck on a house and doing a roof in town this week, and I was a delivery boy all morning, so I just got here in time for council today, so. We have a proclamation that reads, whereas Unity in the Community was founded and organized in 2016 in Sioux City, Iowa, its mission is to keep love, hope, peace, and prayer in the lives of our community. And whereas Unity in the Community has made sincere efforts to bring our community together and break down barriers of negativity, police brutality, mental health stigma, and racial tension. Unity in the Community has provided hundreds of hours of block party celebrations, educational forums, peace marches, community prayer, and roundtable discussions. Whereas the 7th annual Unity in the Community Block Party, which celebrates the partnerships between citizens and law enforcement, helps build community collaboration and positivity. Whereas as a result of Unity in the Community's efforts in the partnership with the Sioux City Police Department, the Sioux City Fire Department, and the Woodbury County Sheriff's Office, we have made our community safer, enhanced awareness, and built lasting relationships. Now, therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby proclaim June 17, 2023 as a day of unity in Sioux City, Iowa. And we want to present this to you guys and thank you for all the great things you've done in the community and continue to do. And tell us a little bit about your get-together on Saturday. How's that sound? Yeah. Should have dressed up for it. All right. Say a few words.
Thank you to the City Council. Thank you for this opportunity. Myself as President of Unity in the Community and our Vice President, Marguerite Reinert, is here today, and we humbly are very proud of this proclamation, and thank you for taking the time out. We have our 7th annual Unity in the Community Block Party this Saturday at Cook Park, 505 Market Street, from the hours of 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And as everyone knows, this is all free. Free food, free fun, giveaways, and all of that. This year, we are collaborating with the local chapter of the NAACP because it's also the third Saturday, which Juneteenth celebration, which is on June 19th. And so we also award 5 peace plaques. So I'm going to let Marguerite give those names of those recipients because one of those are sitting on your city council.
Alex Waters is a recipient this year. Teresa Weaver-Basie is a recipient. Jim Tillman and Terry Medina. And we're drawing a blank, so it'll be a surprise on Saturday, yes. No. But we are excited. We've got about 25 to 30 community organizations that are participating with us in this event. And then also the Norm Waite Senior YMCA will have staff available for activities and a lot of, free food and fun. And Janet Reynolds, how could I forget Janet? She is also going to be a recipient of a peace plaque this year. And those plaques are awarded to individuals that really have worked and strived to foster unity in our community and partnerships and inclusion and things of that nature. So we're excited to honor the citizens for that.
Good for you.
And thank you all for supporting every year.
And what time am I supposed to be there? Noon to read it there?
At noon.
Noon. That's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll go to the regular consent agenda, items 3 through 11, consider them to pass unanimously. Anybody wishing to speak on an agenda item may come to the podium at the time the item is being discussed. If you want to speak on an item not under the on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. Remember to always state your name and address for the record, and remember we have a 3-minute time limit. I'll move the consent agenda.
Second.
3 is a reading of the City Council minutes of June 5th, 2023. 4 is a resolution authorizing Parks and Recreation to accept a grant for a new accessible merry-go-round for the Chris Larson Park Playground. 5 is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in the downtown area on June 30th for the Mardi Gras Big Parade. 6 is a resolution authorizing payment to Plains Boiler for the Tyson Event Center water softener replacement project. I need to abstain on that. 7 is a resolution awarding a purchase order to Ed Stevers Ford for 6 Ford Police Interceptor all-wheel drive vehicles.
I had a question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that we could anticipate would have I mean, as far as when we bid or how we were bidding to be able to get that price down, I know we bought some units last year that were much cheaper, and it sounds like the window wasn't open, and so that might have driven up the price. I just didn't know if there was any other option.
Travis Bolduck, fleet supervisor. The window for bidding from the manufacturer is basically 48 hours. They open it up and it fills that fast.
Really?
For the dealers to go in and bid?
The dealers, this is the dealer that has the state bid, so they purchased a big
Right.
order.
So their window is small, though.
Their window's small.
Correct.
It was very hard for us to hit it right at that time.
It's just unfortunate to, I mean, I know every cost, but this is fairly significant,
Yes, it is.
especially per vehicle. So yeah, I guess my question was about the ignorance of the process and if it's possible at all that, I mean, some of these vehicles that we're replacing obviously are outside of even, when we would want to amortize, switch them out. So they're probably, beyond their prime, but
they're beyond their
it's just
life.
unfortunate that, man, every single one is going to be such an increase, what, $12,000 per?
Yep. We're seeing it with a lot of things we bid, an increase like that. It is crazy.
Well,
Yep.
thanks, Travis.
8 are actions adopting construction documents. A is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Tyson Event Center Tuck Point and Sealant Project. B is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Martin Building Basement and Sub-Basement Structural Concrete Repair Project. C is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the wastewater treatment UV disinfection project. I should have asked this question, and I'm sorry. Who's got this? Is Brad here? No. Oh, this is wastewater treatment.
Yeah.
This is not a good start to, this is way over budget.
5.5 was a number we just started with. It wasn't based on an estimate or anything. We had to start somewhere. This was before we even had anyone hired.
It was just kind of
This is the number I had when I got here.
I understand that, but somebody drew plans and specs and gave you a bid estimate, right?
Now we have the estimate.
Yeah, that's what this 7.2 is. This is the bid estimate. It's
Right, but, okay. That's my fear about all this stuff anymore. Everything is going up so fast because I can kind of remember that we all choked when we said 5.5 and that.
My understanding is the 5.5 was the estimate of previous staff before engineers started to.
Well, then we best be looking at all let's quit blaming staff. Let's look ahead now.
Yeah.
And let's.
Yep.
To make sure that we have an accurate assessment of what it would be.
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I lost, that's why you should die in office, because anytime you leave, they always blame the guy that left for all the problems. So I want to remind you of that. All right, thank you. 9 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to structural concrete for the Sergeant Floyd River Museum and Welcome Center ramp. B is a resolution approving a motor vehicle lease agreement with the Siouxland District Health Department for a Chrysler Voyager LX minivan. C is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to Cone for the City Hall North and South Elevator Project. D is a resolution approving a contract to Knife River Midwest for the airport terminal apron pavement repair and North GA apron taxiway replacement lights project. E is a resolution approving a contract to Barclay Asphalt for the airport northeast taxi lane reconstruction project.
Sorry, I meant to ask the question, Mike, on 9D. Do we have a clue or wonder or any knowledge of why Knife River was the only responsive bidder or came back with that? Because it's certain over, and then because then the very next item there were multiple bids and Barclay came in. I didn't know if we'd reached out to or why Barclay didn't bid on that as well, or.
Sure. So Mike Collette, Assistant City Manager. The Knife River project is concrete-based project.
Gotcha.
Whereas the asphalt project obviously lends to different contractors.
That makes sense. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks.
F is a resolution approving a contract, I'm sorry, yeah, approving a, yeah, that's where I'm at. Resolution approving a contract and performance bond with K&S Contracting for the Airport Northeast T-Hangar Development Project. G is a resolution approving a permit to Fibercom to maintain underground cable in the Hamilton Boulevard corridor. H is a resolution approving a contract to combine building specialties for the Lewis and Clark seating replacement project. I is a resolution approving a third amendment to the development agreement with Harkey Development. J1 is a resolution approving a renewal option number 3 to the contract with LP Building Services for custodial maintenance services for the sidewalk. Staff requests that the motion be amended for this item to correct the company name to LP Building Services Group. I'll move that.
Second.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
J2 is a resolution approving amendments number 1 to the contract with LP Building Services Group to increase the monthly skywalk custodial and maintenance services. 10 are applications for cigarette, tobacco, and nicotine vapor permits. 11 are applications for beer and liquor license. Anyone to be heard on any of those items? It passed 5-0. 12 is an ordinance amending Chapter 2.66 of the City Code entitled Uniform Provisions of Boards, Commissions, and Committees by adding sections pertaining to the standard operating procedures and serving on more than one board, commission, or committee. First consideration was approved June 5th. I'll move second reading.
Second.
Passes 5-0. Anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule? I'll move that.
Scott.
Aye.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
I'll move third reading.
Second.
Waters.
Aye.
Moore.
Aye.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. 13 is ordinance amending Chapter 2.12 of the City Code entitled Employee Residence Requirements by expanding the area in which an employee of the city may reside. The first consideration was approved May 22nd, 2023. The second consideration approved June 5th, 2023. And somebody will need to move that.
I'll move it.
Second.
Been moved and second. Anyone to be heard?
Paul Koskovich, here with Koskovich and Murphy Developments. We are against this. As a developer here of both commercial and residential property, we need all the people we can get, specifically city employees. It's already tough here to work in this city, and losing more opportunities to have bodies in our houses or renting from us is not a good idea. I really think that they need to be here. This is an ecosystem that we need to fulfill here in town. I'm actually against it, even further to the point that I would think that we should actually require city employees to actually live in the city. 10 miles is already in effect now. Go beyond that, I think, is just a far reach. I really think we need them here in town.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
What's that?
Just this item.
I think that, Chief, on this item, this is one of many things that you're looking at doing to help with the recruitment and the competition of getting employees, correct?
Yes. This isn't a magic bullet. We're obviously
with a lot of other departments, just trying to increase our numbers. This is one of many things that we're doing to try to increase recruitment, get our numbers up, to fulfill positions that are open.
And you're not sure how, I mean, we're not even sure how many would be talking about, I don't think, in that radius, would we?
Right. I mean, we did a survey from EMS students, and we found that of the, I believe it was 30 surveyed, there was around 16 or 17 or so that indicated that they would be interested. But again, that was just a survey of some students that had passed the.
Okay. Thank you. Janelle, did you want to say something?
Both good questions.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone to be heard on this item? Passes 3-2. Scott and Waters vote no. 14 is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to Gill Hauling for the container rentals and hauling and dumping fees at the wastewater treatment plant. I'll move that.
Second.
Passes 5-0. 15 is a resolution awarding a city facility solid waste and recycling collection and disposal agreement to Gill Hauling for waste and recycling pickup of city facilities. I'll move that.
Second.
Was deferred from June 5th.
I don't know if anyone would like to comment, or Sean, if you wanted, or if you wanted to make a comment about any of this, or. I guess I would just say, I'll start by saying, look, I think you can and will do a good job. But I think, as was shared in the last meeting, some concerns, and I've emailed you, I know staff has talked with you. I think you have the setup and abilities to do really well, but it's just been frustrating with this. I'm sure it's a lot of logistics as far as, turning over all of these bins. But it has been anything but smooth. And so I just, not about this item in particular, but wonder if you could address some of those concerns that you're hearing and steps that you're taking to hopefully calm some of the concerns of citizens out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Alex. Sean McDowell, Gill Hauling. So we bid off a pretty big project with the carts. And to kind of give you a little background on what we did, we hired Sierra Container Company to provide all the new carts. They hired 2 third-party companies, 1 reclamation team, 1 delivery team. Well, those are competitors in other markets, and they really struggled on the onset to where they're getting paid per cart to remove them, per cart to deliver, and the reclamation team kept getting ahead of the delivery team. Unfortunately, it took us threatening to withhold payment to get them on the same page. The first couple weeks were really rough. And we had about 900 total work orders of carts that were removed and not then redelivered. Those have all been caught up. The second component of this that was a challenge is you had the city set of data, which is what the city bills the customer for, then in turn pays Gill Hauling for. Then you had the Gill Hauling set of data. Well, there was a discrepancy of about 4,000 carts that is natural churn over the last 20X years of the contract. We decided to go with the city's version of the data because that's the service we're actually getting paid to do. We found so far approximately 170 homes weren't getting billed for service, so if they weren't on the delivery sheet, we would pull their carts and then not redeliver. And it made some residents upset, and we don't know that until they call in. As we stand right now, 43,600 of the carts have been replaced. They're on a run rate of about 1,400 per day. So we're about 2/3 of the way through the project. The new trucks are on the street as well, so we're seeing the call volume dip significantly at the city level and at the Gill Hauling level. The good news is when we completely hit the reset button like we did, we have brand new fresh data so the city can accurately bill and then accurately pay Gill Hauling for the services. So we appreciate everybody's patience. We know it has not been the success we wanted it to be right out of the chute, but I think we've corralled the problems and we're down to where we can minimize and take care of the one-offs on the same day now.
What should we do if we have the new carts, but we still have the old carts?
Contact Gill Hauling at the local number, and that's another common thing. People pull their carts in before we can switch them out on that day, so just contact Gill Hauling and we'll send the reclamation team out to go process those.
So on that vein, contact Gill Hauling. I've tried that 3 times. The one time I get through to someone and have concerns, I had 4 bins delivered to my house. I called, I said, hey, I've got 4 bins. I've never had 4 bins. I don't know why I have 4 bins. And the response I got was, oh, the city messed this whole thing up. The city's been charging you for 4 bins. You're gonna have to straighten it out with them. There's nothing that we can do. And I said, you can't come take these bins back? And they said, yeah, we'll pick up the bins, but this is the city's fault. That's the messaging that I received. Now, I worked in customer service for a long time. I was on call center calls, not fun work at all. But kind of the first rule of customer service is you don't poop where you eat, right?
Yeah, that's a poor message to send out. And I'll address that internally.
It's been 4 weeks now, and the bins are still sitting on the curb.
Okay, would you be able to email me and I can look specifically into your call so I can listen to it? The message we should be giving to the residents is simply, we're going off of the city's data, and if there's a discrepancy with what you have relative to what the city's billing you, this is the point in time where we're trying to correct that. So.
The other major concern, I take a lot of walks with my kids, and every time we go for a walk now, I'm trying to go down a different street, and I find these black discs, these spacers, all over the street. They're absolutely everywhere. And all it's going to take is one person on a motorcycle or on a bike hitting one of those the wrong way, and they're going to wipe out, and they're going to get seriously hurt from it. They're knocking these wheels off, and they're leaving the spacers in the street.
Okay.
If I litter and a police officer sees it, I'm probably going to get a ticket for it. I'm going to get a fine for it. But this crew that is knocking the wheels off in the street, they're not picking up after themselves, and they're leaving this trash all over. I live on Rebecca Street. We've gone down Rebecca. We've gone down West 26th. We've gone down Military Road. Everywhere I go, I'm finding them. And that's a huge problem. If they're knocking them off in the street, they need to at least take the time to pick up after themselves.
I would agree 100%. I'll get with Sierra, who's the head on this project, and make sure the reclamation team's doing a better job of that.
The last thing that I want to say is I grew up on the 1800 block of Rebecca. Garbage has always been pick up in the alley. There are people living on that block that aren't able to pull one of these big heavy carts up the bank in the front. And for some reason there, and not just there, but all over the west side, carts were delivered in the front when garbage pickup was in the back. So we've got elderly people, we have disabled individuals that aren't able to lift that cart and roll it all the way up their bank, having to rely on neighbors to get it to the rear of their house. So I'm not sure where the disconnect was there, because what we were told is it should be they're picking up the trash, another group is collecting the old cans, another group is dropping off the new cans, and they're all married. They're all a train, bam, bam, bam. But at some point that was not happening, and we've got citizens that aren't able to move these carts. They're significantly heavy. My own dad was like, getting that up the hill is a challenge. He lives over off of Castleman. And so that's just something I hope they can be more intentional where they're delivering them, where they're dropping them, because right now they're just, it doesn't make any sense.
No, I understand. And in some alley locations, there's not addresses in the alley, so to get an accurate address, they had to deliver it in the front of the house. So when we would send the garbage trucks through, then the reclamation team and the delivery team to the front of the houses in some of those areas. But again, I can check with Sierra on this project and see if there's a better solution to that.
To address that also, sorry, Air Montang Environmental, Gil will also send a person out to help them get their carts to the back of the house. I can probably have Ann put something on our Facebook about that, but I have had seniors call in that are unable to pull them up the curb. And so the driver supervisor did go over and move those to the back of the house for them. And then I also notified the resident that we do also have a disabled or hardship paperwork that they can fill out if they need help getting their cans to and from the house, that we offer that service. Gil offers that service.
And I would appreciate too, to that point, Era, I think that, you know, social media is one aspect, but those covering the meeting today that are going to be putting this on the news, I'm sure this is one of them that will probably make it. If you could please remind people of that fact, we would greatly appreciate it to get out the word that if they need assistance, bringing it to the back of the house, or, because I was talking to Era and used myself as an example, if I don't have someone bringing my trash can out to the street, I don't really have that ability. So she said that there's paperwork that I can submit for their assistance to be able to hop off the truck and be able to assist with that. So we just want to reiterate, that's the phone number to be able to take those steps, whether you need moving it around initially or help bringing it out, or there's a discrepancy in how many you're being billed for or what it was for, to make sure to reach out, to make those calls, to leave those voicemails. And in my experience, maybe similarly as Matthews, I heard from a couple citizens that were not getting calls back or was taking multiple calls in a long time. I know that that's been addressed. I've sent you both emails regarding that. If that happens, I would urge you to email a member of the council and we'll follow up as well, or contact city staff in that case. And Era's been great to be able to follow up, but
And our website's all updated with all the information, and it also has a link to that form for if you need help getting your cans to and from. And then we also have the form on there that you can fill out to request additional cans if you need to change your can size, anything like that. Sometimes it's easier to send that email, and then I get it right over to them also.
And just to speak to your point on the customer service, if you look at January through March, Gil Hauling averaged about 200 phone calls a day. We were roughly about 3,300 phone calls a day, middle of April through middle of May. So to say it was a challenge to immediately reply to numerous phone calls from the same house, we experienced that.
But that's your problem.
No, I agree.
That is your problem 100%. You rolled this out way too fast. You rolled it out without a lot of process, talking to your subcontractors. And you are telling people it's a city that's doing this, and I'm not accepting that part. You're getting paid to do the job, and you pick the time frame. I mean, my own house, I don't have them, that's okay. But how do I know which day you're gonna deliver the garbage cans? Because most of the time I only put out one, but I got more than that. So how does a guy know that's sitting out in his house, oh, I wonder if today's the day you're gonna get new? It's been a train wreck. Come on, I mean, what are we doing here? When do I know you're going to deliver to my house? When does anybody out here know when? You don't. So then we're going to be a garbage can short. Because I don't roll them out I did last week. I thought, well, maybe they're finally going to, because I saw you working around up on the north side. But then you don't. So how do I know? And how does a citizen know? That's the problem. Woody Gobber just said, two garbage cans still laying out in front of my house 3 weeks later, and 2 phone calls from KSCJ. Just sent me a text. How does he know? It's disappointing, the service. And we've talked about this, cutting these wheels off. I'm waiting for the first lawsuit because it's going to happen because your guys still are not picking that trash up every time. And it's got to stop. So how do I know when you're coming to my house?
I can check specifically with the contractors on the neighborhood.
That's a rhetorical question. How does anybody in this audience know the day you're coming?
We don't have a pre-scheduled set that we're going to do this exact area until the production.
So that's always going to be a problem if a guy has more than one garbage can, because lots of people have garbage cans for when leaves. They pay for it because it's too much of a hassle to send it back, but they haul out one, but they may have 3.
In the beginning, I know just from being in the process. I know that Gil requested, like, if your pickup day was Monday, you would roll out all your cans on Monday. Unfortunately, yes, then you're rolling out cans that are empty, hoping that it's your day.
I've done it
It's
3
not.
times now. I've
Yeah.
given up.
And we were afraid to put maps out in case they didn't get to that area that day, or they didn't make it through the whole mapping area, that we would then have residents calling in and saying, okay, it was supposed to be my pickup day, I rolled my carts out, and they didn't make it all the way through, they didn't get to finish that route that day. So we were afraid of, on the back end, if they didn't make it there, then they had their carts out and they were complaining that or notifying us that they didn't receive the carts. So it was kind of like a catch-22. We didn't know if we notified them ahead of time and then they had to change the route, we were going to get the phone calls. So,
Well, you're getting them
but
now,
you're
and the
right.
problem is, you're right, you're getting 3,300 of them. Nobody can keep up with 3,300 phone calls a day. I get it. But the system is,
It's just a challenge, yeah.
It is challenging. And we
John,
do offer, like, I know most cities that after this was my first situation with the garbage can exchange. So I did go in and do some research in areas around us. Most of them only offer 1 can size, and they only offer 1 trash bin, 1 recycle bin, where we want to allow our residents to have more than that. So we offered the 3 can sizes in both recycling and trash, and then we offer up to 6 cans per household. So it did add some challenges to us, but, hopefully we're on the downhill of this. We're halfway through, well, 2/3 through. So hopefully we've gotten some of those kinks out. The things that you have brought up today, we'll definitely address those, because again, I'm like you. I don't want them saying it's the city of Sioux City doing it, and also I don't want pieces on the streets. That's not, it's negligent, and we should not have that.
All right,
So it will
John,
be addressed.
When does the new recycling schedule start?
July 1st.
July
I believe
1st.
that's Monday,
And how-
July 3rd, I believe.
How's that going to work again? Could you tell me, please?
Recycling will go to every other week. We'll have an A week and B week. I did just finalize the maps, and I will have them up on our website beforehand, and then we'll do a press release to let everybody know. It'll be the same map that's on our website now for trash, that you can go in and zoom into the Google map and find your house, and it'll show you what day and what week your pickup's on.
So it should be two pickups a month?
Yes.
Average?
First and third week, second and fourth week.
and what happens if you haven't made the switch and gotten all the garbage cans traded out?
Before the recycling, you can still use your recycle bins. We're still using the same bin.
I know,
You can
but
still use the old.
you still, then you got
still
1 week you're going to put it out, and then 1 week you're not, and that'll be the week that you
Oh.
want the recycling to occur, and
So maybe, we can even try to push that off until, if we're not done with this.
no,
garbage
you
can
can do whatever
exchange,
you
we can-
want to, because I don't see it, I don't know how you're going to straighten it out now. That's my problem. I just don't know what the average guy is supposed to think, or gal out there, when they come and take 2 garbage cans away and they leave 1 by your house.
Yeah, well, I'm using my pink recycling bin, but just a couple of things. I think this has been a good discussion from the standpoint, I'm not sure we ever had an inventory of our carts previously. I mean, you really did take on a monumental task, and so a lot of mistakes will be made, and you've openly acknowledged that, and I appreciate that. But I also want to just remind all of our citizens, and please don't call me because I just do this in my neighborhood, but I've helped, if somebody needs help with their carts, it's really nothing to take it to the back or to take it to the front. If I come home late at night and I know a neighbor is on vacation, I'll take the carts up to the
Why don't you come over
garage.
on Monday? I could use a little.
You could use a little help too, need a little help from my friend. But you know what I'm saying? We can all, it used to be really good to do that kind of thing. And if you know who your neighbors are, you can do it. Now, so far, I've been lucky that I didn't take somebody's cart back up when they were really wanting it to be picked up. So, but I'll admit it, but I try my best. I think everybody could pitch in and help out. And the new carts are really, really neat. So, but right now, I've got my new carts, and I've got an old garbage cart, and a recycling cart. So eventually, I'll get charged probably for 5 carts, I would think.
No, you shouldn't, but if you.
Well, not the
but we can get
recycling.
those-
Recycling's still free, right?
Yep.
Carts.
Dan, there's always been an inventory of garbage carts, always.
I don't remember, though, having updates and that kind of thing, talking about updates and,
Hill Hauling has always provided the information to the city, and that's what's in the city system.
okay, well, then I stand corrected on that.
It was more of the aspect over the balance of the last 25 years. People claiming a lost cart, then they find it. People taking a cart from a house that was currently for sale. Just really tracking the RFID numbers individually by the cart.
Well, and to your point, many people put their addresses on the carts because we do have strong winds here in this city, believe it or not, and they'll blow an empty cart down the street. I mean, easily. So anyway, I stand corrected on that. The city did no wrong, but I'm just saying you really took on a monumental task.
And Councilman Moore, you had a question last week regarding the billing of them. It comes out, we don't itemize the bill so that we don't charge like the firehouse for a certain number, the police station for a certain number, City Hall. It just comes out of my budget, out of the solid waste budget.
Oh, you know, I thought I read something in the homework, though, that the departments were going to be charged.
We haven't went that far yet.
And it was like a $3,000, now don't get me wrong, $3,000 a year is a lot of money, but to split that out among, what, 20 departments, it just didn't make sense to me. Seems like you'd spend more time splitting it out than just having it come from a general fund of some sort.
Yep, it comes out of a general fund.
For the city to figure out. But that just really threw me for the amount of money we were talking about. But thank you for remembering that. I forgot.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Well, Sean,
Thanks,
every
Sean.
time you're here, you give me hope, man. Now we just got to make sure you get your people in order and hopefully better days ahead, because I've been speaking to Aaron fairly frequently, and so I'm always pleased that it's going the other way. But yeah, there's still definitely kinks to work through. And I tell you what, hearing that we've looked into other communities and they only have, you get 2 carts and they're the same size. I appreciate you willing to accommodate for our citizens, but that definitely would create some headaches.
Yeah, we're doing Council Bluffs right now at the same time, and everybody gets a standard trash, standard recycle, and it's a little bit more smooth of a process than reclaiming and delivering new with a variety of sizes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for being.
Thank you.
We already took the vote.
Downtown partner, passed 4-0. Mr. O'Kane abstains. Downtown partners.
Drum roll.
That's what I was going to say.
Here we
Yeah, what's
go.
the intro?
Hello.
Cue the hype music.
It's all good news, right?
Always.
Always.
Reagan Cody, Executive Director of Downtown Partners. I have 2 awesome people with me up here. One is Carly Howry. She's our Business Development Coordinator. And new to the team is Becky Barnes. I always want to call her Kempers. She is going to be our Event Manager. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly and let them tell you a little bit as well. Set this up so we can get, there we go. Our board of directors will change July 1, but currently we have Alexia Boggs as our president. Katie Towler, who is also sadly leaving the Career Academy. She's been drafted by East High, so she will be leaving as well. But Kaylee Betterton, our treasurer. So here's a list of our board of directors, and they are doing an awesome job. But they will adjust a little bit. July 1, we do add some new board members and new executive positions. A little look at our budget going into fiscal year '24. We have 527 properties downtown that pay into our district. This totals a budget of $476,800. Roughly, assessments for downtown property in general is over $700 million, so it's a small portion of that to do what we do, and we just went through a renewal to get that approved, and we've got a great response from them. Our 24 assessments did go down slightly. They went down $22,400. We've adjusted that due to the facade funds. We weren't doing the program this year with the city, so that saved us some money there. And we also decreased our office expenses. We have moved, and I'll show you that later, but by sharing our space with Explore Sioux City, who's the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We've also added on a full-time employee, but however, that is going to be a cost share with the farmers market. We are currently going through an agreement with them to help support that and have Becky continue working the market as Lou and Roger retire and do some things with downtown. So it's kind of a win-win, I think, for everybody. Becky?
Yeah, so council, If I look familiar, yes, I am with the farmer's market. I have been with the market for the last 7 years. They told me I could never leave, so I'm still here. Yeah, so it's a week. The events happen from May to October. So we have 52 events that happen for the farmer's market, overseeing over 55 plus vendors that come in and out each year. So right now we're in leadership transition for Food Truck Fridays as well. So I will be heading that up. And getting all those good stuff transferred over. And then as far as events coming up, we do have July Jam, which is going to be happening that Saturday of Ragbri, so Saturday the 22nd. It's going to start at 10 and run all day through that. And if you are interested in seeing other events that are happening downtown, you can just scan that QR code up there, and then it'll bring up our whole list of events that is happening downtown. For Carly, yes. Carly is our social media lady.
That's me, yeah. So a big part of community engagement can be found online these days, which is really cool. So a daily part of my job is social media. It's one of my favorite things to do. So what you're seeing here is a graph of our social media engagements, which if you need a quick refresher, which sometimes I do as well, engagement is anytime someone interacted with a post, like liking it, sharing it, retweeting, etc. But that is the graph that you're seeing up there. It ebbs and flows as it goes. But overall, seeing some great improvement there with audience and impressions. That is how many times anytime someone has saw the post. So those are all going up, and that's what we like to see. And like I said, this does ebb and flow. So it gets higher as the year goes on and more events come. I also wanted to highlight one of my favorite weeks during the year, which is Restaurant Week, and specifically Dining Edition, which happened this last April, because we just saw outstanding numbers for it. Last year, impressions, like I said, how many people saw our posts throughout a 2-week period from promotion to the actual event execution were about 49,000, and this year it was 93,000. So almost doubling it. It's really great to see the community come together to enjoy some great food, as I know we all know Alex Waters loves to do. Yeah. We are also looking to expand Restaurant Week, taking ideas, maybe doing it 2 weeks out of a month, and just looking forward to see how that event grows. Now, another part of my job is obviously with the storefront and rent relief grant. We have continued these grants. We've seen great responses to the rent relief, which was introduced last summer. It's 50% off rent for the first 6 months of a business coming into downtown. Starting from January, we have over $11,000 in rent, which is awesome. And we are excited to see that program continue as well. And we have done a little bit of revamping with our downtown storefront grants. If you may notice, it used to be downtown storefront grant, but we've kind of expanded to more than just signage, which is typically what it used to be used for, just that $2,500 storefront grant. We've helped over 28 businesses, over $60,000, which is awesome to see. But yeah, like I said, we've expanded from signage to aesthetic upgrades, which includes painting, replacing doors, all that great stuff. It's just an opportunity for people to get more money for these specific projects, as well as sidewalk improvements and outdoor dining and seating. As the weather gets nicer, we would love to see more people outside. And safety and security, so purchasing cameras and lighting. Speaking of lighting.
Segue is amazing.
Before you do that, on that 50% rent, is that on new rentals or new space? So you've rented space that wasn't occupied before?
Yes, and it's agreement with the property owners as well.
About how many spaces has that been? Does that?
We've had 5 so far. It's a 6-month agreement, and it's the 50% that's covered by us is shared with the property owner. So 25% comes from us, and 25% comes from the property owner to reduce the business's end by 50%.
Okay, but you're filling vacant spaces.
Not necessarily vacant, but it could be, they just have to be new to downtown. So it could go into an office where someone is leaving, and I mean, it could be anywhere in downtown.
But new rentals?
Yes, it just has to be new to downtown. If someone moves within downtown, sadly, that wouldn't be allowed, but.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. With lighting, we have some exciting things coming up with that, as you know. These are on order. They look to be shipped at the end of July, so we're looking to install in August, which would be wonderful to have them up before the snow flies, is always how we look at spring projects. I mean, just if things can get going, that would be wonderful. Just to remind you and give you a look at what these are going to look like, and these would replace the globes that you see in the picture on the left. As you can also see, the lighting on the sidewalk on the left is a big difference if you're looking over by that white car versus the corner there where that light is already installed on the post on the festoon lights. So just giving the sidewalks a lighter and brighter feel, and it makes it more safe and secure in the evening. So all of these globes along 4th Street from Iowa to Water will be done. There's 171 of them, so they're not anticipating too long of an install, so by the end of August, we should be good. Don't quote me on that, though, as you know.
Yeah.
Ordered.
Looking forward to it. Another lighting piece before I get off of that just for a second, we did receive a $25,000 grant from MERD to help with the lighting of the art alley. So between 4th, 5th, Pierce, and Nebraska, that project will move forward thanks to MERD. So you should be seeing numbers on that and a project timeline for that too as well pretty soon. New Skywalk hours. This is an alert that just kind of lets everybody know what's going on. The last couple of months, we've met with several stakeholders that are attached to the Skywalk, along with city staff and Skywalk security. These areas are going to be highlighted in the yellow circles there, are going to be closed at 6 p.m. during the week and on Saturdays, and then Sundays will have limited access in those areas as well. This is going to help with just the safety and security of the buildings, being able to lock down those areas, and for people who are living in downtown to still maintain access to the parking ramps. That will start, I believe, July 1, and we'll put something out about that. Moving forward, we are still working on these bike ped connections that you saw earlier, doing something with the Tyson Center there to get people from the riverfront into downtown, as well as the area over by Virginia Street, which is also becoming quite the pedestrian corridor to get them up to historic 4th. So looking at those areas in ways that we can make it safe for pedestrians and biking, those projects are moving forward as we kind of look at partnerships with other organizations and get that done. And last but certainly not least, we are moving. We are down in the Egelharf building, which is at 1119 4th Street. We'll be inside there, and we are sharing space with the Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we'll be having a ribbon cutting with them once we get much prettier in there. Right now, it's a bunch of boxes, and it's looking pretty rough. But we're working on it, and our lease downtown on Pierce Street is not due until the end of July. So we will be gradually moving and getting things over. So. I would invite you all as well, if you haven't received the invite. Our annual stakeholder meeting is Tuesday, the 20th, and it's at the Riviera Theater at 5 p.m. Excellent. Questions?
No, I did see that you were purging and giving people the opportunity to recycle some of the office goods that you're no longer going to
If you need
using.
phone systems or binders, please, if you need binders,
Right.
please let me know.
I did have some good interest on the binders, I
Yeah,
saw.
I think we're going to open our office for a day and just say, come and take them. Because
No doubt.
I think her old
Free
office
binder
is
Tuesday.
to the ceiling with binders. Yeah, free binders.
We are
18
purging.
Pierce.
It's
Well,
a
a lot
lot
of
of years.
teachers said they take them, so that's great.
Absolutely, please do. They're all great condition too, so.
I've looked in 13 years. I don't think we need it.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
too.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, council.
Citizen concerns. Any citizen want to be heard, please come to the microphone and state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Sarah Murphy, and I live at 2326 South Clinton Street. I sent an email a couple weeks ago about this. Thank you, Julie, for being the only person to humor me with a reply. You said something to the effect of, there are no known drug houses 2 houses down. I want to make sure we're all on the same page. I live in a blue-collar neighborhood. I currently reside 2 houses away from a drug flop house. It's had violent gun crimes 3 times in the last year. There has been many assaults and thefts because of this house as well, but I'm here to talk about the gun violence. The first violent incident was on 5/17 of 22. We were at home just waking up, getting ready for work. The second one occurred on 4/18 of 23. My 3-year-old daughter and I missed this by minutes. My neighbor, unfortunately, was not so lucky. She was putting her 9-month-old and 5-year-old in the car feet away when this violent incident took place. The third one was on 6/5 of 23 while we were all home sleeping. We have spoken to many officers and the chief of police who pretty much said they're doing the very best they can with what they have. I appreciate everything they've been trying to do for us, but from where I am standing, their best is not good enough. There continues to be 5 to 20 vagrants in and out of this home day and night. A few drug arrests have been made since the second shooting, but this has done nothing to slow down the activity in this dangerous house. Those offenders are out on bond with their families. Those offenders are out on bond while families in this neighborhood continue to be prisoners in our own homes. We were told to be good witnesses, and when numerous calls go out to police about dangerous things happening, we're lucky even if they show up. And when they do show up, it's normally between 90 and 100 minutes from the last call that took place. We continue doing what we're told to do. We keep doing the next right thing and starting to feel pointless and helpless. We feel like our system is failing us, and many of us are working with realtors looking to move, but that doesn't fix the problem for so many people who are unable to do that. It has been a year, and nothing has changed from where we're sitting. Our children still cannot play outside safely. They check almost all the boxes for the Title VIII offenses. 8.72.090 emergencies. Whenever a nuisance is an immediate or imminent threat to life or property, the city manager may, with or without notice as required herein, order the nuisance abated and assess the cost of the abatement to the person or persons causing or maintaining the nuisance and to the owner of the property on which the nuisance is located after notice and hearing. There was several of those Title VIII offenses that they checked the boxes for. So I guess my question is, who is going to be responsible when somebody dies? Because that is the road we're on. And what are you guys doing to ensure that we can live in our home safely? Because it doesn't feel like anybody is doing anything.
May I ask you this first? Did you not get a response from the chief of police, an email response?
Not an email response, no. We talked on the phone, and he was a very kind guy and genuinely seemed concerned, but made it a point to say they're short-staffed, it's really hard to get a warrant, it sucks having bad neighbors, they're doing the very best they can.
Well, let me just say one thing, just so you understand. We get numerous emails a week.
I understand. It's a big city. There's lots of streets.
No, I just want to explain to you. So a council member will volunteer to answer for the rest of us. I answer for these guys. They answer for, everybody takes, not everybody responds. I don't want you to think that doesn't mean we don't care, but somebody from the council normally responds. I'm pretty aware of your neighborhood.
Good.
Well,
I'm happy
I'm
somebody
aware
is.
of it. A year ago, I complained about it, but I kind of have to agree with you. I don't think it's been a priority as it should be.
It has not. Nope.
Well, and what I sometimes will do, and the reason why I ask you that question is I'll go immediately to the city manager, say who and how should we get a response to this? And I
Yes.
remember receiving your email. I mean,
I appreciate
it was an eye-opener.
Good.
So,
I
and-
hope it was.
But like the mayor said, usually one or two of us will respond, and that's a response for the council. But
I'll
and Bob,
follow
I
up with
can't-
Rec tomorrow to see what more we can do.
Okay.
And
What's that?
again, I've talked to Rex several times, and Vice is
Gonna
doing
check,
night patrols,
further
and
they
they're
can
doing
do.
what they can.
It's
And
been
I'm sure
over
we're
a
not
year.
seeing everything that's
Not-
happening.
that didn't
Cars can get
start
pulled over
out
on
here.
other streets, but everybody that I have been watching in and out of that house has been in and out within a week of any of the charges they have had. This is ridiculous. Our children are not safe.
But that you have to keep in mind as a county attorney, even if we arrest them and put them in jail, that's the county attorney and judges take over. We have an incident in the Morningside where two ladies have gotten assaulted, and the chief has very little say over that. Once they send that to the county attorney and the judges, that's where it goes.
I understand their job is to put people behind bars. It's not to keep them there or figure out the sentencing. That goes on to a different point. I understand that. But it's been a year, and my daughter deserves to go draw with chalk on the front sidewalk.
And this doesn't make it right, but I want to say for myself, I'm sorry you've been going through that.
I appreciate that, and it's not just me. There's a lot of people who
Well, I
are not
underst-
able to be here.
Exactly, and I'm glad you're speaking for them as well.
You and me both.
But Bob Padmore will follow up with something more than just reasons why we can't do something. Let's find out what we can do.
I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Monique Scarlett, 3823 Jones, Sioux City, Iowa. I am standing up as almost a segue for our block party to say that we need to care more for Cook Park. I have driven and monitored Cook Park for the last couple of weeks just to get a feel. I am from the west side. I used to live right next to Malone back in the early 70s. And when I went there, I was really disappointed that our city is not taking more of a concern for Cook Park like the rest of the parks. And I understand the investment piece, but we have gutted all electricity. We have removed, I know the Leslie B. Triplett building was torn down for various reasons, I understand that. But in tearing that down, we removed benches that were out there. So now there's no benches that people can sit on and watch the basketball, the soccer. I sat out the other night and watched the kids with soccer, but I sat in my car to do that. The splash pad is not up to par like the other parks. So there's different things that I think caring for Cook Park is the only way to bring that park back. I believe that the residents deserve that. Someone from the west side, I would like to see that come back, so whatever I can do. I know everyone on this council knows that I will do whatever I need to do to make that happen, but I need the support of the council that we would refocus and start some type of project of caring for Cook Park and bring that park back. Benches, there used to be, a shelter. That was removed when Girls Inc. was built. And it was never replaced, and it was said it was going to be replaced. It was never replaced. Even when you think about those girls at Girls Inc., they go out for recreational. At Cook Park, what do they have? They don't even have electricity out there. They don't have a bench. They don't have park benches to sit on. So I think it's something that we really need to consider that would bring a lot of the morale on the west side back. And I would just ask the council to put that on the forefront.
Seems like a reasonable request to me.
Thank you.
Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and Council. My client is Pedal Party Pub. It is a bike pub here that operates in Sioux City, or perhaps saying operates in Sioux City is a dramatization. It wants to operate in Sioux City.
Sorry, could you identify yourself for the record?
My name is
please?
Dean Fankhauser. I'm an attorney here in Sioux City. Pedal Party Pub is a business that's very in the public. It's very noticeable. It's something that everybody sees, and it's something that's fun and exciting. And it's something that draws people to a community. There's no doubt in my mind that you've seen them in Omaha, in Sioux Falls, in Davenport, in Des Moines, and in Cedar Rapids. It's effectively a four-wheel bicycle, or a four-wheel cycle, if you will, that the patrons of the vehicle can operate at the time they're also enjoying an adult beverage or enjoying some pastime with some friends. The council is probably aware that Pedal Party Pub has had some difficulty getting operating in Sioux City, and it
Probably not, so just so you know, probably I am, but.
Okay, so it's been a long.
You guys know too, then?
I do.
Okay, go ahead.
Pedal Party Pub has been attempting to operate here for quite some time, and it's been a very arduous task getting operating here. And that's unfortunate in a city that needs to grow, that needs to innovate, that the only answers it seems to get is no. And that's very frustrating for my client and for the folks that are trying to get it going.
Mr. Fankhauser, could you let the council know what they're saying no to?
Yes. So in the beginning, well, you know what? My clients are here. I'm going to let them here in just a moment tell their story a little bit more thoroughly so that the council has more background on what they're facing and what they have faced. But what they're facing now is an obstacle related to minimum insurance requirements. That's where I will stop. Minimum insurance requirements that the city is requiring them to operate of $1.5 million. This is a bike, and they're being required a $1.5 million minimum liability policy because they are considered a vehicle for hire under the Sioux City Code.
Or otherwise it would be $1 million.
Where otherwise it would be $1 million, which is what other cities seem to require of these pedal pubs.
And just for clarification, other cities, they're classified as bikes and not motor vehicles. That's different. And other cities do not allow alcohol on the bikes to be consumed. And I spoke with other city attorneys last week on Friday. I was at a city attorney meeting in Des Moines, and they don't allow alcohol on the bikes.
That is possibly accurate. There are some cities that do allow alcohol on their bikes. What is different between, and here is why what I am speaking on behalf of Pedal Party Pub. The folks behind me will tell their story about what this has been like to get this thing going in Sioux City. What I'm here today to talk about is in a city that needs to grow, that wants to grow, that has so much ambition and so much of an entrepreneurial spirit, the place that you go to for help to start a business is City Hall. When you walk into the business, or when you walk into City Hall, when somebody says, I want to start a new business, the attitude from City Hall should be, and not from council, but from the people that help you all, is thank you for wanting to start a business here. We want to see you succeed. Let's figure out how to make that happen. And more often than not, the attitude is a no culture. It is, no, you can't do that here. No, not in our backyard. No, we don't allow that. No, the ordinances don't allow for that. No, the zoning ordinances don't allow for that.
I'm going to need you to wrap up so your clients can talk, okay?
Understood, thank you. And you'll hear from them what can be done possibly to make this happen. But going forward, what my clients need is help from the council so that they can succeed and so that they can get the permit granted that they need. And I will let them tell their story and explain to you exactly the hurdles that they faced and what they can get going forward.
Hello, everybody. My name is Scott Beeler. I'm Kevin Lake. So basically, this is a little bit different party. The ones in Sioux Falls, I'm sorry, the ones in Des Moines, Dubuque, in the state, they are not considered a vehicle, which is the difference. That's why they are not allowed to have the alcohol on them. So because of that, in Iowa, that's the law there. So, but the others, like Omaha, Sioux Falls, all those, which their laws might be a little different, but basically this has been considered a vehicle. We've had it looked at it by the DOT. The problem, what we're facing is because it's still considered a bike as far as the insurance companies say, they're only allowing $1 million. They won't do any higher. And they just don't feel like it's necessary because this is still only going 7 miles per hour down 25 mile an hour zone streets. And that's why they won't go any higher than the $1.1 million. So that's kind of where we're running into, where we're asking for just an exemption for that. We've never, even last year when we didn't have alcohol allowed on the bike, because the city said, hey, this is a bike, we can't have this. So we said, okay, fine, we just didn't have the alcohol. And lost a lot of business because of that, because people, that's part of the allure of this party bike, is that the alcohol is allowed. Now keep in mind, we're not talking drinking shots and things like that. We're talking having a beer. And we only allow beer, wine coolers, things like that on the bike, canned drinks like that. We only allow 3 per person for the 2-hour ride that they're on there. So we're not letting these people go and get sloshed or anything like that on the bike. We're just letting them have a drink between each stop that we may have.
Are they getting that alcohol from you, or are they going into the
It's a BYOB. That's where it is like that in the whole country. This BYOB.
Just like a party bus is.
Same thing for the party bus.
Mm-hmm.
So last year, like I said, we didn't have the alcohol on the bike. And then we tried to find a way to be able to let that happen, because it's again, part of the allure. So we got the bike looked at by the DOT, and they consider it a vehicle because our bike does have an electric motor. And the electric motor is basically an assist, but it still is an electric motor. It's got headlights, taillights, turn signals. And one of the things I want to point out too is this bike is a lot different from any other party bike in the United States. We are literally probably one of the only bikes that have a driver and a host. Most of those party bikes it's a driver, and they're messing with the music, they're taking care of the customers, they're taking care of all those kind of things, but we're not like that. We have a driver, which is generally me, and then a host, which is either Kevin or my wife or somebody, that we have on the bike, that would take care of the customers, make sure they get their, they haven't had a good time, play with the music, with that kind of thing, while the driver can focus on driving and being safe. A second thing that we have that the other party bikes don't have is we have seat belts and seat backs on our bike that allows us to make sure that they are safe, so they can put seat belts on, they're not falling off, they're letting this be a fun time and being safe. We offer helmets for our bikes. There's a handle in the front to hang on to at all times. The alcohol does not leave the bike, and no new alcohol comes on the bike. So if they're drinking a can of beer and we stop to go to a restaurant or a bar or whatever, they have to leave that alcohol on the bike, that can of beer. They cannot take it with them. So that's kind of, they're talking about like open container law. So as long as they're keeping it on the bike, just like a party bus, that's what keeps it, as within the law. Then another thing.
I'm going to need you to wrap it up too.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
You
I'm
have
sure
other
Kevin wants
guys.
to say some things too.
I have a question really
Sure.
quick, since we're talking about kind of the build of the bike itself. What protection is there for the patrons from being rear-ended or sideswiped?
Well, I
Like
mean,
by a vehicle on the street, is there like a metal bar
So,
or any
so,
kind
so
of
this was,
protection, or-
was in play last year. We had it last year. We just didn't have the alcohol in it. This permit was never talked about last year. We were never asked to have the permit. Last year, we still had $1 million coverage policy, and we still had, we still were very safe, lights and things going. But what's strange to me is last year, we didn't have the request for this vehicle fire permit because we weren't a vehicle, but we weren't asked for anything last year. And there was no problem with us running it throughout the year. So, I mean, of course there's situations, but like I said, the reason I feel this is much safer is that the driver is driving and only driving. They're paying attention to everything, making sure that they stop at every stop sign thoroughly and every light and everything is as thorough as possible. So yes, of course I suppose there's always that chance, but with anything, you've got the trolleys downtown, you've got all kinds of things that could happen. Those kind of things could unfortunately happen, but the fact of the matter is.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just for clarification, last year I was brought into this with the police chief. We met at the chamber with Kevin Lake, I believe. And at that time, they were operating with alcohol on the bike illegally. And we met with them and said.
No, we were not. We've never had alcohol on the bike until.
Why, there were pictures on Facebook that I brought
That
to the
wasn't in this
meeting.
town.
We bring the bike to other towns, just like party
Okay.
buses do, where the other towns are allowing us to have alcohol on it because they're treating us like a party bus was. So the pictures on Facebook, they're from other towns. We never operated our vehicle, prior to that meeting.
Okay,
with
that makes me feel better. I guess
Yes.
I walked away from the meeting with a different take on that. However,
We never did that. That's one thing we've always been within, whatever the city was saying for us to do, we've always, adapted what they said, made sure that we were following every law and everything that we needed to follow. Again, we did have $1 million policy on this last year as well. We've never not had that. So it's not like we're asking to not have a policy. We just can't get that 1.5.
and it is a conundrum.
An exception?
Well, it's federal law. It's CFR dictates the 1.5 million based on the occupancy. And I agree, they're in a different situation. Their broker will not write the policy for 1.5 million. Ron Engel has been in contact with them, has visited.
And how
with
many
these
people is that?
11, I believe, is what they're asking for this year.
But you don't have a, well,
Bike holds
you don't need a
14.
chauffeur's license.
Yes, which we both do have. And a
But
lot of
let me
park-
finish. You don't need a chauffeur's license unless you have 16 passengers, so I'm not sure you're covered by federal law. Chauffeur's license only comes into play when you haul 16 people or more.
And over
You can drive,
7
anybody can drive a 15-passenger van legally. When you go to a 16, you have to have a chauffeur's license. That's what determines the federal insurance, but anyway.
And over 7, like a straight taxi, for example, is 7 or under, which is $1 million. And then unfortunately, the higher occupancy is what we were looking at in the determination of the 1.5 million. If there's something different in the law that you would like us to take a look at, please provide that to us. We just haven't been provided with that.
We're a little confused on that with the, whether it's interstate commerce, like interstate driving. I mean, like I said, we're not on any zone higher than 25. So that's why we're confused as to why that would fall into place for this situation.
Sure, and I would ask Dean, I know he tried to reach out to me. I was at a meeting in Des Moines last week. He spoke with Amber Haggerty on the phone. If there's something else we need to be discussing, please let me know and we can certainly do that.
I don't think, well, I'm practicing law here, but I know what the requirements for a chauffeur's license. I have one. And you have to have a passenger endorsement, but only after you get to 16. You don't have to have a passenger. You don't have cab drivers running around here doing, well, you don't have people running shuttle vans for these different employment agencies running 12-passenger vans. They don't have to have a chauffeur's license.
And we've done a legal analysis regarding this, and I'd be happy to provide it to the.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know quite.
Did you provide that to Dean?
So one of the things.
I haven't talked to Dean yet. This is the first we have.
I haven't talked to Dean yet either.
One of the
Sorry.
things we're a little confused about too is there's all kinds of party buses already running around town, limousines, several different limousine companies. And after talking with those companies, all of them are when we're like, what's this vehicle for hire permit for? What's this all about? They've all said, what are you talking about? Last year, I don't know if you saw the news last year, there was a news story where KTIV had actually asked the city as to, what other companies had this permit. None of them ever had the permit before. And then also, had anybody ever been fined for it or ticketed for it? And nobody had ever been ticketed for it. So we're a little confused as to why we're being asked to do this with a vehicle that only holds 14 when you've got party buses out there that hold 15 to 40. I mean, some of them will hold up to 40, and
Sure.
none of them have ever been asked.
Yes, they have. We sent letters last year to all of the buses that we could identify.
But was this not like in play in 2016? I mean, this vehicle for hire permit was set up in 2016. So in the last 8 years, why has all these other companies not been asked to do this? And all of a sudden, whenever we're doing this, we're being, they're finally going to send a letter out.
Sure, and I would say that it came to the forefront because it's a complaint-driven basis, and we received complaints regarding the bikes operation last year, which caused the city to start looking on those that we could identify in the city. And the other one that we've had come in the spring carries $5 million of general liability and auto coverage.
Well, of course, with a larger,
Sure,
like you said.
because it's a different
It's
classification.
a different class, but.
Right.
Again, we're just asking to be able to do this with the $1 million policy that we're able to get. And we did try. It's not like we didn't try. We tried for the 1.5. We went to 14 different insurance companies. And because it's considered a slow moving vehicle whenever you look at it on the title. Or low speed vehicles, thank you. And it's considered a low speed vehicle that only goes maybe 7-8 miles per hour on the city streets, 25-mile-an-hour zones. We keep it down 4th Street. And again, we're safer than any company out there. Like I said, we're the driver and the host, the seat belts, everything we possibly can to be safe. And we actually purchased this bike, spent about $15,000 more when we purchased the bike for those safety features, because we didn't want us to be unsafe. And again, we've always had the coverage. Even last year when we didn't have the permit, even asked for the permit, we still had the $1 million coverage, and we still had the seat belts, and we still had all the safety things that we have this year. So that's what we're asking for, I guess.
So Dean, is that something that you could at least have initial conversations with the city attorney and what Nicole's
They've
research?
had them.
I haven't spoken with Dean.
Yeah, I don't think,
about that.
yeah.
That is correct, Mr. Moore. I was retained on Thursday or Friday of last week and have been digging through this all on myself as well. In speaking with the chamber, this has been much more of an ongoing fight than what I anticipated that it was. And then in working with the chamber to come up with some resolution, it was important for me to articulate sort of the differences that people have sort of run into when they're trying to get a business like this going, is that when Pedal Party Pub came to the city offices, it wasn't a, that's a great idea, how can we make this work? It was a, no, that's not happening here. And that's really disheartening and devastating to hear from my perspective as somebody that wants to see Sioux City grow and thrive. So I'm pointing that out on behalf of Pedal Party Pub, because this truly is a very exciting thing for Sioux City. This is something that gives us an edge, like Omaha, Sioux Falls. It's something that can draw people here to want to celebrate and have a good time in Sioux City rather than go there. And that's what we need to see. And if it's a matter of trying to create a variance or create some sort of exception from the city ordinance or somehow reclassify them under city code separately from what DOT has them classified as. Let's navigate that and let's think creatively and come up with a solution here rather than just marking it as a no. And it is true, I have not had an opportunity to talk to Nicole, but it would be, what we're requesting is the city to offer solutions rather than just a no.
Okay.
That's what we're asking for.
I have a couple of questions. Nicole?
Yes.
The 1.5, is that mandated by the state because of the vehicle classification?
It's
Is that
kind
what
of
you're saying?
complicated on how it reads because the city ordinance is not what dictates the insurance coverage.
right.
You have to
That's
look
what I
under the
wanna
state
clarify.
code, and then the state code only covers so much, and then it refers to the federal CFRs.
Okay, so that's not a city ordinance that,
No, and just to further, in my meeting with Kevin Lake, when the police chief and I met at the chamber, we indicated that unfortunately this is a state code issue regarding the consumption of alcohol, and we encouraged at that time that this is perhaps a legislative change that needed to occur. If it was state law that allowed you to operate a bike with alcohol on it, the city wouldn't be opposed to that, but unfortunately there were hurdles in the state code, and I think when we had that initial discussion, that might not have been something that you maybe understood at that point, that it was the state code that prevented the consumption and not a city ordinance that dictated that. So I'm sorry that it's been a long process. And I know you've had other attorneys in the past that we've tried to work with that have contacted us, and unfortunately I don't know where the representation went, and it just kind of dropped off. So happy to work with Dean. Hopefully we can come up with a different solution. But unfortunately, I think we're a little bit limited in the insurance coverage.
Okay. and
Because of the
then
classification.
Circle back then to when the pedal bike was classified as a bike and not a motor vehicle. Was it ABD that restricted no alcohol, or was it a city ordinance that restricted no alcohol when it was a bicycle?
It's like a public consumption or open container type situation.
This vehicle for hire permit has nothing to do with alcohol.
No, and I'm just trying to figure
What they're asking us
out.
this year, though, it's got nothing to do with alcohol. It's a vehicle for hire. It doesn't say anything in that at all about alcohol.
Right.
We weren't asked to even do anything with the vehicle at all until, until after we got it classified as a vehicle, like the vehicle hire permit. Last year, that's kind of confusing to me too, is last year we were carrying 13, 14 people on the bike. The same question you had, it could have been, an injury at that point, right? But no one was ever concerned about it then. So now
I'm trying to find you a solution
Okay, I'm sorry.
through the bicycle.
I mean, it's been a long road, and I'm just.
It has. So Nicole, I'm circling back to you again. The open container and the consumption on the bike, that's at the ABD level, at the state level, Iowa ABD?
Correct.
Okay.
Under state code, yes.
Okay.
Why
So,
they have to have a commercial license, I get that, but I don't know why they have to have more insurance than I gotta have to drive a semi.
And we'll be happy to provide that analysis. Caleb Christopherson from our office put that together, so I will share that.
okay, well, I was just making sure that it was the Iowa Authority, because once someone gets permission from them, then they'll say, turn it over to local authority to approve, which would be us.
And the council can always give direction. Obviously, there's always questions that could come up or liability concerns that could come up if there was ever a question related to that. And that's what I've shared with some council.
Right.
That's outside of my ability. I can just say what the interpretation of the law is, but the council has the final say related to that.
Right. So I think maybe you'll be able to discuss that with their attorney. So I was just looking for the path of least resistance as far as if an exception can be made by council, which it doesn't sound like it can, as long as you're classified as a vehicle, which you are now.
But that's the only way they can have alcohol.
No, I know that. That's what I'm trying to clarify. If you're not a vehicle and you're a bicycle, does the council have any authority? That's still at a state level. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yes, and I am not aware of anywhere within the state of Iowa that's attempted to do that because of the legal prohibition.
Because
at the
that would
state
also
level.
solve the 1.5 million.
Correct.
There is another, we've talked about the Des Moines party bike not having the alcohol. Davenport, Iowa has a party bike, and they do have alcohol.
But
So
I
I'm not-
believe it only operates on the Illinois side of the Quad Cities. When we checked with their county attorney's office last year, that's the information that we received.
Party bike company told us that they operate.
And I don't know what they're up
This
to.
side.
That's just the information we gathered.
Well, let's find out. That's terribly important if
Right.
Davenport's
Well,
doing it.
let us work on it
I
a
will
little
tell you,
bit.
in my legal opinion, it's prohibited within the state to have
Okay.
alcohol on a bike.
Okay.
What?
It's prohibited to have
Okay.
alcohol on a bike. That's my legal opinion,
But okay.
based on my review this.
Okay, but they're not, I'm more concerned about why they have to have $1.5 million when I could go drive a 18-wheel truck today and only have 750, because I don't think you're interpreting that part of the code, that part of the federal insurance requirements. You can get in a semi today for $750,000.
But it's a different classification under the CFR, and we've
Okay,
done
well
that
then,
where
what's
they'll
a
provide it.
Greyhound bus have to have?
Know that off the
Well,
top of
that's the
my
only way
head.
we're gonna get to the bottom of it, because you're talking passengers.
And I will provide the legal analysis to the council so they can review it.
Yeah, I'd like to say, and I just want to say, I've had a lot of experience working with Mr. Fankhauser, and I'm convinced that you'll get it either worked out, or you'll have an understanding of that's what that law is, and that's what needs to be changed. Dean's very thorough, he's very good. I've had really good experience with him over the years. So Nicole, I think it's something that can be worked out, and you can share each other's research and try to find a solution to this, as Julie Shaner has tried to do too. But no, you've been in the past. I'm just speaking from experience. You're very good to work with and very thorough. So
Thank you for the safety considerations too, having one person kind of man the party and one person drive and navigate. And I think that if
Right.
anything, I
And
would
so,
think that would be.
Like we kind of discussed, we keep on going back to Des Moines. Des Moines, it's considered a bike. The reason why it's considered a bike and ours is considered a vehicle, I'm pretty sure they don't even have a VIN number. Ours has a VIN number. They don't have brake lights. They don't have turn signals. They don't have safety bars. They don't even have seat backs or seat belts. So that's why they're never going to get to be approved as a vehicle like we are.
So your pedal bike came with a VIN?
They went and got it because the city.
Or did you go get it?
We are registered in Plymouth County.
I didn't make them, Mayor. They wanted to serve
No, the chief of police did,
alcohol.
because they went out one night after the chief said, you're good to go, and they got a ticket, and that's how they got around it, is because they went to the state.
Right, I'm understanding that.
Right.
But if it was a bike when you got it and then you,
We just, at that point, didn't kind of understand all that, the Iowa laws. We were trying to, again, we were trying to be, everything that was
proactive,
asked.
right, sure.
Like we talked about just, a second ago, the whole point is, not the whole point, but it's so much more fun when you have alcohol on it, but with the laws, you can't legally.
This is why you didn't call me back? I left you a message on your machine. Seriously,
You can't-
as did my son.
Yeah, you can't have alcohol on a bike. I mean.
So
a
you're not
bicycle-
operating right
a
now at all?
bicycle.
No, we had to close our booking sites, and we have probably 10 people that we're going to have to pay money back to because we can't get the permit. And
Is there any way your
we just
agent, your
paid
broker would write you two
8,300
policies and split it up?
We've tried.
Tried everything?
We just paid
Okay.
$8,300 for $1 million policy that we thought was going to be fine for us. It's
Okay,
non-refundable.
there it is,
so
it is 15.
Our business is going
It's
to,
there.
Yeah, so we've actually had a couple trips. We've gone up to Lamar, we've gone to Sergeant Bluff a couple times. They're, ultimately, those communities are benefiting because our patrons are spending money there. Where we had one of our videos last year reached over 65,000 people. What's the population of Sioux City? 85,000? Imagine bringing this many people to Sioux City. They're not only spending money on us, they're spending money at local bars. They're also restaurants, hotels, other attractions, casinos. It's a pretty big
Are you
thing.
saying those 65,000 people are going to come here?
I'm not saying that.
we hope.
No, but I mean, the word got out. I mean, when 65, if I put
It's good
out-
advertising for you though as well.
Exactly.
Right,
I mean,
right, for
stuff
all
like
of
that
That's only
doesn't
for
happen all the
interstate
time.
commerce.
And get excited for
Right.
Sioux City.
Right.
You
That's
know?
only for interstate
So
commerce.
that-
They're not interstate commerce.
That's what we're saying, you know, that they could,
Correct section of
if
them
there's
having
no party,
trouble
you know, thing
7.7.
here, we've had people, well, Sioux Falls is already booked, that's why we came here.
But Sioux Falls is South Dakota.
I think you can work this
Omaha.
out, because I think
Exactly.
my quick paralegal here today, I find that that's only if you're interstate. If you're just for hire and not, I'm not sure that law pertains. It's 16 passengers or less, as I said, but 1.5, but that's for interstate commerce, not.
Just so you do know, we both have.
No, I don't
chauffeurs
care about your
licenses.
license. I
You're
don't-
not required to have that.
I only care about
Right.
your insurance, but,
Right.
but if, she can do some research, but I think that's only if you're in interstate commerce. I think you can have a bus in town and not have that much, so.
And if Dean wants to get a hold of me when he's available this week.
Dean, talk to the city
Yes,
attorney.
I absolutely will. That is something that Mr. Mayor is correct about. It does impact interstate commerce, or it is vehicles that operate within interstate commerce. Arguably, this doesn't. It is a vehicle that operates in Sioux City and is not aligned with any other vehicle that does operate in interstate commerce, which would be like a Greyhound bus, for example. It does not connect with a Greyhound bus. So that is something that we can continue to talk about and get creative to find solutions. I'm hoping that that the city is excited and flexible with those creative options.
All right,
Thank you for your time. Sorry I was so.
you're good, thank you. Thank you. Anyone else be heard?
Thank you.
No one else to be heard. Mr. O'Kane.
I just want to talk for a brief moment about residency requirements, because that is something, expanding residency requirements is something that I was very against initially, especially with the concern of the prospect of taking away emergency service workers from other communities. And it's something that I really battled with. I think looking at residency requirements across the state of Iowa is what really probably made me come around to accept the 30-mile fence, because across the state of Iowa, it is much further than that. Probably my biggest worry is that did not expand residency requirements a little bit, the next step would be to take them away entirely. And so I need to clarify that, because I do think that people should live in the community that they're working in. And I think that this will be helpful in getting a handful of people to work for Sioux City, and hopefully those people will move to Sioux City when they realize how great it is here. But I also think it's just a very small piece of the puzzle that we need to look at. I've reached out to both the chiefs. I'm going to be meeting with kind of the internal HR department with the fire department to kind of discuss the hiring process and other avenues that they are seeking. I still have to reply to Mr. Baker, but I'm hoping to get that forwarded on to the rest of the council too, if anybody else is able to make it, because I think we need to start speaking with some of our younger officers and some of our younger firefighters and figure out what's going to attract more people to that line of work and what's going to retain them. We want to make sure that they're here for a career and not just a few years. So I think it's, at the very least, it's opened up discussion, and it's something that I hope we continue to work towards. But that's everything for today.
Julie.
I'm going to, two things, piggyback on what Matthew said. I have been voted in the past against having people who influence the council give us advice on our boards, et cetera, and commissions. I felt they should live in the city. And I too rethought that with this hiring and the employment issues that we're having. I feel like if there's a small percentage of people who we do hire that don't live in Sioux City, I truly do feel that part of that is because of the unknown, or maybe a time factor that they've got kids who are starting school or kids who are finishing school, or they're getting married or whatever it might be, so they're staying put when they're starting a new career. Oftentimes you start a new career, you have other things starting in your life as well, other changes. So I do think that once they work in our community, that they will want to live here. Not 100% of them possibly, but I think a greater share of them. And it's not like we're going to hire 100 people all of a sudden are going to come from other communities to live here. So if there are a few, I do think that a percentage of those few will end up living here eventually. I truly do. The second thing I want to say is this is Pride Month, and last weekend I had the fun of delivering our proclamations to 2 Pride events that we have in Sioux City. It was great weather. It was very hot, but everything went well, and we're going to finish out Pride Month the month, and I was just happy to do so. I mentioned it last week, and I've thought about it since then, and I just thought, you know, what a great community to be able to have these festivals and just to have them on the street and not to have any trouble or protesting. So I appreciate that from our community.
Okay. Mr. Moore?
This Wednesday, June 14th, is Flag Day, so please celebrate in a respectful way. And then secondly, I just want to talk about the Sioux City Municipal Band at the Grandview Park Band Shell last night. They had a concert, 7:30. Outstanding. Michael Pritchard is the conductor, and they do a great job. Last night, they had a Flag Day presentation by the Elks Lodge, number 112, and that was very respectful, very good. And then secondly, they had as guests the Siouxland Youth Chorus, directed by Shirley Lubke, and they sung God Bless America and Why We Sing. And it was just an outstanding concert. I would urge everyone to go. It's free, and there's plenty of seating. And, you know, it's just really, I'm glad the council and mayor support this band shell concerts they have in the summertime. So 7:30 Sunday evening, and that's all I have.
I'm back to my favorite subject, the stoplight at North Middle once again. This is like the 4th time in 3 years. Yes, it's not working again. You get to stop and stop and stop. I've got stopped 3 times over the weekend and no cars anywhere in sight. It has to be a controller that obviously we're not getting very good parts for.
I spoke to Public Works Director Dave Carney this morning, and he's working with Kurt Frank on a solution.
They say it was the wind one time, or the rain was getting it wet? Yeah, I thought so.
Is it flashing red? Or is it just?
No, it goes out at
You
night.
get to sit there and that traffic backs up. And it's amazing it happens after school's out when normally you get to stop a lot anyway.
That happened to me the other day, and I was like.
Listen, I'm not a smoker, but that deal with Siouxland Health saying that we banned smoking in all parks, I know we didn't. But how did they get that? I mean, they don't have the right to tell us what we're going to do in our parks, I hope. I asked you that earlier, and I don't know the answer, but I don't know where that came from.
No smoking.
It came from a Facebook post that they posted on their.
Oh, no use of tobacco.
Health.
Facts.
What?
There are more facts that should be.
Yeah, they misinterpreted, I think, the Smoke-Free Iowa Act.
But how do they get to say that article in the Journal said Sioux City is banning?
Any use of tobacco or vaping on any property, parks, anything.
That's my own point.
What had happened
How
is.
did Siouxland Health
I
get to
don't
do
know.
that without?
Someone had, several citizens reach out to me and asked me how they had the authority to say that.
This spring, we updated our administrative policy for staff and the public as it related to public buildings. You rescinded our old policy because it was in conflict with.
Right.
The Smoke-Free Iowa. Smoke-Free Iowa defines public places as enclosed buildings and land around those buildings. It doesn't include any definition of parks.
Trails or things.
Or trails or things like that.
I think that's how.
And again, I don't smoke, and I wish people didn't, but I just don't like somebody else. I mean, I read that in the paper, and I think, what did we pass that I forgot that we voted on? That was my whole deal. I move we adjourn.
Second.
O'Kane.
Aye.
Shaner.
Aye.
Scott. Waters.
I do
More.
not believe
Aye.
you and Ron reading that. I'm wrong.
This is